Did you know there's a hotel in Colorado where guests often check in, but some never check out? Alive? Or a house in Louisiana where the ghost of a vengeful slave girl still roams the halls? Get ready to uncover the spine-chilling secrets of the 7 most creepiest places in the United States. From haunted hotels to eerie abandoned prisons, these places will send shivers down your spine. So, let's start our countdown without any further delay. Number 7. The Stanley Hotel. First up is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. This beautiful yet eerie hotel inspired Stephen King's famous novel, The Shining. Built in 1909, the Stanley Hotel is not only known for its stunning architecture and picturesque views, but also for its paranormal activity. Guests have reported seeing ghostly apparitions, hearing unexplained noises, and feeling an eerie presence, especially in room 217. Imagine checking into your room, only to hear the sound of piano music playing softly in the middle of the night. You follow the music, only to find the piano playing itself in the empty ballroom. Some guests have even encountered the ghost of Freelan Oscar Stanley, the hotel's original owner, who is said to roam the halls, checking on the establishment. His wife, Flora, is often heard playing the piano, even though no one is there. But the spookiest of all is room 217. This is the room where Stephen King stayed and had a terrifying nightmare that inspired The Shining. Guests who have stayed in this room report their belongings being moved, lights turning on and off by themselves, and a heavy, uncomfortable feeling that something, or someone, is watching them. It's said that a former housekeeper named Elizabeth Wilson, who was injured in an explosion in that room, still looks after the guests, sometimes tucking them into bed or folding their clothes. Number 6. Eastern State Penitentiary. Next, we travel to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home to the Eastern State Penitentiary. This historic prison was once the most expensive and famous in the world. Built in 1829, Eastern State Penitentiary was designed to reform inmates through strict isolation. However, the harsh conditions and the loneliness drove many prisoners insane. Today, the penitentiary is a crumbling ruin, but it's far from empty. Visitors and staff have reported countless ghostly encounters. Imagine walking through its dark, abandoned halls and hearing the clanging of cell doors or eerie whispers from unseen voices. Shadowy figures are often seen darting through cell block 12, one of the most haunted areas of the prison. Some visitors have felt sudden, unexplained chills or seen strange flickering lights. The most famous ghost sighting is that of Al Capone, the notorious gangster who was held here for 8 months. Capone's cell was luxuriously furnished, but it's said that even he was tormented by the spirits of Eastern State. He reported seeing the ghost of James Clark, one of his victims from the St. Valentine's Day massacre, and hearing his anguished cries every night. Number 5. Winchester Mystery House. Our journey continues to San Jose, California, at the Winchester Mystery House. Built by Sarah Winchester, the widow of the inventor of the famous rifle, this sprawling mansion is known for its odd architecture and eerie atmosphere. Sarah believed she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles, and that the only way to appease them was to keep building her house, non-stop. The result? A labyrinth of 160 rooms filled with staircases leading to nowhere, doors opening into walls, and windows overlooking other rooms. This bizarre layout was intended to confuse the spirits and protect Sarah from their wrath. But the spirits, it seems, are not so easily deterred. Visitors have reported hearing mysterious footsteps echoing through empty hallways and seeing doorknobs turning by themselves. Some have felt an icy hand touch their shoulder or heard whispering voices calling their names. The seance room, where Sarah communicated with the spirits for guidance on the house's construction, is a particularly eerie spot. It's said that Sarah herself can sometimes be seen wandering the halls, still overseeing the endless construction of her home. Number 4. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Now, let's visit the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. This former tuberculosis hospital, opened in 1910, has a dark history filled with suffering and death. During its operation, it is estimated that tens of thousands of patients died within its walls, and many believe their spirits still linger. The most infamous area is the Death Tunnel, or Body Chute, a long dark tunnel that was used to discreetly transport the deceased out of the hospital to avoid alarming the other patients. Visitors often report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and sadness when walking through this tunnel. The fifth floor, particularly room 502, is another hotspot for paranormal activity. Legend has it that a nurse who contracted tuberculosis committed suicide by hanging herself in that room. People have reported seeing her ghostly figure, hearing her screams, and feeling cold spots. Shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and mysterious footsteps are common occurrences throughout the sanatorium. Some visitors have even reported being touched or pushed by unseen entities. The atmosphere is heavy with the echoes of the past, making Waverly Hills one of the most haunted places in America. Number 3. The Myrtles Plantation. Heading to St. Francisville, Louisiana, we find the Myrtles Plantation. Built in 1796, this plantation is rumored to be the site of at least 10 murders, though only a few are historically documented. One of the most famous ghosts is that of Chloe, a former slave who is said to haunt the property. According to legend, Chloe was punished for eavesdropping by having her ear cut off. Seeking revenge, she poisoned a cake that killed 2 of the plantation owner's daughters. Chloe was later hanged by other slaves and thrown into the Mississippi River. Today, guests report seeing her apparition, often identified by her green turban. Visitors have also reported seeing the ghostly figures of the 2 young girls in the house, as well as mysterious handprints on mirrors that can't be wiped away. In the French room, guests have felt an unseen force pressing down on them while they sleep. The grand piano in the living room sometimes plays by itself, filling the air with eerie melodies. The plantation is also home to other supernatural phenomena like cold spots, unexplained noises, and flickering lights. The ghostly activity at the Myrtles Plantation has been so frequent and intense that it has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the United States. Number 2. The Queen Mary. Our next stop is the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. This retired ocean liner, now serving as a hotel and museum, is famous for its numerous reports of ghost sightings and paranormal activity. The Queen Mary first set sail in 1936 and has a long history filled with mystery and tragedy, including a collision with another ship during World War II that resulted in the loss of hundreds of lives. One of the most haunted areas on the ship is the first-class swimming pool. Although it hasn't been used for decades, visitors and staff have reported seeing wet footprints appear out of nowhere, and the ghostly apparitions of women in vintage bathing suits. Some have even seen a little girl with a teddy bear standing by the pool's edge, only to disappear moments later. Another notoriously haunted area is the engine room. Here, the spirit of an 18-year-old sailor, who was crushed to death by a watertight door, is said to linger. Visitors have reported hearing clanging noises, sudden temperature drops, and seeing shadowy figures moving through the narrow passageways. Cabin B 340 is perhaps the most infamous room on the ship, with so many reports of paranormal activity that it was closed to guests for many years. Stories include the sounds of children crying, objects moving on their own, and even guests being physically touched or pushed by unseen entities. Number 1. Lizzie Borden House. Finally, we arrive at the Lizzie Borden House in Fall River, Massachusetts. This unassuming house is the site of one of America's most infamous unsolved murder cases. In 1892, Andrew and Abby Borden were found brutally murdered with an axe, and their daughter Lizzie was accused of the crime. Although she was acquitted, the mystery remains, and many believe the house is haunted by the spirits of the Bordens. Visitors to the Lizzie Borden house, now a bed and breakfast, have reported numerous paranormal activities. Some guests claim to hear the sounds of a woman weeping, footsteps in empty rooms, and the eerie feeling of being watched. The most active areas are the rooms where the murders took place. In the room where Abby Borden was killed, guests have felt sudden cold spots and seen her apparition standing at the foot of the bed, still in her housemaid's dress. Guests also report strange occurrences in the room where Andrew Borden was found on the couch. People have seen his ghost sitting in the parlor, and objects in the room are said to move on their own. The sound of a door opening and closing, followed by the heavy steps of Andrew's boots, has been heard by several visitors. Some brave souls who stay overnight have even experienced more personal encounters, such as the feeling of being touched by unseen hands or hearing whispers in their ears. The chilling atmosphere and the dark history of the murders make the Lizzie Borden house a place where the past never seems to rest. Wow, what a journey! From haunted hotels to spooky prisons, the United States is full of places that will send shivers down your spine. I hope you enjoyed this video, so make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share your own spooky stories in the comments below. Which place would you dare to visit? And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a haunted adventure. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.